Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you very much for joining us. After a little break, we like to seek the blessings of Radha Madhava, Radha Shyamsundar, Krishna Balaram, Gauranitai, Shri Prabhupada, Gurudev, and the assembled devotees, so that we can continue with the Krishna Lila, Krishna book. So I think we left off at chapter 27 last time, and this time we'll continue with chapter 28 onwards in Krishna Lila, from Krishna book. And these chapters are all during Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. And in his pastimes in Vrindavan are the sweetest pastimes. And here we come to the sweetest of the sweet, or the sweet of the sweetness, sweetest, I can't remember which way around it is. But these are very, very important nectarian chapters, not to be misunderstood, but very powerful chapters coming up. So 28 is releasing Nand Maharaj from the clutches of Varun. 29, the Rasa dance, which is considered to be the epicenter of Krishna's Leelas. Then 30th is Krishna's hiding from the gopis. Then the gopis in separation sing songs about him. And then he returns in chapter 32. Very powerful chapters. So when he was 7 years and 2 months, 18 days old, Nand Maharaj was bathing early in the Yamuna at an inauspicious time. The time before sunrise, in fact, before Brahma Murta, is considered to be a time when you shouldn't be bathing in water in the sea or in the pond. So that time, Nand Maharaj went very early in the morning for some reason. And the servants of Varun Dev arrested him. So Varun Dev is in charge of water, and he is the demigod, the devata in charge of water, in charge of the rivers and the seas and the oceans. So his servants, Varun Dev's servants, arrested Nand Maharaj, and they brought him before Varun. When he was taken, Nand called out to Krishna and Balaram. So Nand Maharaj's natural inclination is always to take shelter of Krishna. Even though he's the father, he knows Krishna is somebody special. He may be God, he may not be God. He's still my son, but he's also special. Whenever something went wrong, they would always call out to Krishna. So they came to Varun, Krishna and Balaram, who received them with respect. Now Varun Dev, he knows who Nand Maharaj is, but he also knows who Krishna is, and he wanted to take darshan of Krishna. And what a better way than arrest his father for bathing at the wrong time, and then Krishna and Balaram would come. So of course, initially he apologized for arresting Nand Maharaj, but then he thanked Krishna for his kind darshan. And he also worshipped him, stating that now his life has become successful because he has seen Krishna. The lesson to learn from this is the devatas, they worship Krishna. Worshipping Krishna is actually very rare. And if we have this great fortune that in this life we have the consciousness of being able to serve the Supreme Lord as Krishna, then we should consider ourselves extremely lucky, extremely fortunate, and make the most of this great opportunity to serve the Supreme. The more we serve him, the more we will become attached to him. And just like Nand Maharaj, anytime there is some difficulty or even some good thing that happens, we remember Krishna, we remember Balaram. Very important. Nand Maharaj he was amazed that Krishna was being worshipped, that Varun was worshipping his boy, 7-year-old boy, Krishna. He could understand that Varun had worshipped Krishna because he is the Supreme Lord. Rather, he took it that because Krishna was he couldn't understand that Varun had worshipped Krishna because he is the Supreme Lord, right? Because then Maharaj's view of Krishna is not that he's a Supreme Lord. He's just a wonderful child, that he was even respected by Varun Dev. The cowherd men became eager to know if Krishna was actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and if he was going to give them all salvation. So this is in this chapter. The cowherd men actually inquire from Krishna, are you going to give us salvation? When they were all thus consulting amongst themselves, Krishna understood their minds, and in order to assure them of their destiny in the spiritual world, he showed them the spiritual sky. This is the beauty of the Lord. He reciprocates. If one is very close to the Supreme Lord, the Lord will reciprocate by becoming close to that person. And he will reveal himself. Naturally, he will just reveal himself. This is the beauty of Krishna. He reciprocates. And this is just a small idea of what the whole creation is all about. So here we have Devi Dham, which is our world, the material world, the world that we live in, the crazy place. The place where birth, death, old age and disease are prominent. Can't escape from those four things. And beyond Devi Dham is Mahesh Dham, the land of Lord Shiva. That's beyond Devi Dham here. That's almost in between the spiritual and the material. Part of it is in the spiritual, part of it is in the material. And then beyond that is the Brahmajyoti, the effulgence of the Lord. Beyond the Brahmajyoti is Vaikuntha, Haridham. And beyond Haridham is Ayodhya, Lord Ramachandra's place. Beyond Lord Ramachandra's place is Lord Krishna's place, Golok, Vrindavan. And that is the pinnacle of spiritual world, Golok, Vrindavan. So this is an interesting representation of the whole creation. Of course, it's not quite in proportion. The material world is very small in comparison to the spiritual world. And our material world is one of billions of other worlds, material worlds, universes. And the material world is situated in the northeast corner of the spiritual world here. It's not at the bottom, it's here. And it's only less than 1/4 of the whole creation. So we should understand the spiritual world is far vaster than anything in this material world. And in the spiritual world, Golok Dham is the biggest, the huge, very, very huge, in comparison even to Vaikuntha, so, or Ayodhya. Okay. Carrying on with the next chapter, 39, I think. When Krishna called the gopis by sounding his flute, playing his flute, they very hurriedly rushed towards a spot of the Ras dance with the transcendental desire to satisfy Krishna. Leaving their respective engagements, such as milking cows, the milk may be overboiling in the kitchen, they leave it. They might be breastfeeding their small babies, they leave that as well. They might be distributing food to the members of their families. Everything is left behind. As soon as they hear Krishna's flute, as soon as they hear the first 2, 3, 4, 5 notes, they're off. They know it's Krishna. And they're just mesmerized by the sound of his flute, knowing that he is the one playing that flute, they're after him. Their faces were decorated hurriedly and were haphazardly finished. Some even put the lower part of their clothes on the upper part of their bodies and the upper parts on the lower parts. They just didn't care. They just wanted to rush out as fast as possible to meet with Krishna. And when they would be with Krishna, he would tease them. Oh, ladies of Vrindavan, Krishna said, you are very dear to me. I am very pleased that you have come here. So what can I do for you? What is the purpose of your coming here in the dead of night, middle of the night? Kindly take your seats and let me know what I can do for you. This is really cheeky, right? Because Krishna has called them on the flute to play the Ras dance, to enjoy dancing with him. And now he's asking them, what are you doing here? It's middle of the night. So cheeky. The gopis said, Krishna, you are very cruel. You should not talk like that. We are fully fledged, surrendered souls. Please accept us. Of course, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead and can do whatever you like. So Krishna, the gopis actually teach us that we can pray with our hearts and the Lord will accept our prayers. He might tease us. That's his prerogative. He loves doing that. Krishna is one big teaser. But at the same time, he reciprocates with his devotees. So if one worships him, he will also, in accordance with the level of worship, the intensity of worship, he will also be with the devotees. He will reciprocate with the devotees. Although Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and thus has no desire that needs to be fulfilled, because he is always full with 6 opulences. He's self-satisfied, right? He's known as Atmarama, self-satisfied. He wanted to fulfill the desires of the gopis, but he also wanted to enjoy the company of the gopis in the Ras dance. This is when he was 8 years and 1 month. Now, if somebody says this is lusty, how can an 8-year-old be lusty? This is actually enjoying with his devotees, interacting with his devotees in the way that they want to interact with him. So Krishna was enjoying with the gopis. He had no desires to fulfill, but yet he wants to fulfill the desires of his devotees. The Ras dance and Lord Krishna's association with the gopis appear like the ordinary mixing of young boys and girls. The dancing of young boys and girls within the material world is in the kingdom of Mahamaya, or the external energy. So ordinary dancing between boys and girls, that's just within this world. It's not spiritual. But we should not confuse that with Krishna's dancing with the gopis. The Ras dance of Krishna with the gopis is on the platform of Yoga Maya, not Mahamaya. The difference is that on the Mahamaya platform, dances take place on the basis of spiritual gratification of lust. So if it's material, then it's sense enjoyment, lust. Whereas the gopis' interaction with Krishna is on the spiritual platform of love, not lust. And the lesson to learn from this pastime is that Krishna's pastimes are completely spiritual. They're not tinged with any material lust. They are basically interaction between Krishna and his devotee in love, pure love. The gopis, however, soon began to feel very proud. Pride is never a good thing. And they were thinking themselves to be the most fortunate women in the universe due to being favored by the company of Krishna. So Krishna could detect this little bit of pride. Krishna, who is known as Keshav, could immediately understand their pride caused by their great fortune of enjoying him personally. And in order to show his causeless mercy, he immediately disappeared from the scene, exhibiting his opulence of renunciation. That's one of his opulence, 6 opulences. He's not attached to anything. So he disappeared just like that. And you can see the gopis. Where is he? They're really anxious. Where's Krishna? So the lesson to learn from, we should be very careful that we do not become proud. Of course, the gopis are very special personalities. This is all part of the Lila between Krishna and them. So we shouldn't think that gopis are ordinary personalities subject to pride, lust, anger. But this is pastimes to instruct us. Krishna has disappeared because of our pride. So this is what they're thinking. The gopis were aware of the reason for Krishna's sudden disappearance. They could understand that when they were enjoying Krishna, they thought themselves to be the most fortunate women in the universe. And since they were feeling proud, Krishna had disappeared to curb their pride. So they're really sad and missing Krishna. Where is he? He's gone from our vision. It's very important to understand when we have made a mistake, to try to, when we make a mistake, and also to try to correct the mistake. The gopis began to search for him everywhere. After not finding him anywhere, they became afraid and almost mad after him. They were simply thinking of the pastimes of Krishna in great love and affection. The gopis therefore began to question the trees and the plants about Krishna. So they just couldn't tolerate that separation from Krishna. And they would talk to the trees, to the plants. They would question the plant. Have you seen Krishna? Have you seen our darling boy? There were various types of big trees and small plants in the forest, and the gopis addressed them. Dear banyan tree, have you seen the son of Nanda Maharaj pass this way, laughing and playing on his flute? He has stolen our hearts and gone away. If you've seen him, kindly inform us. Which way has he gone? Dear Ashoka tree, dear Nag flower tree, and dear Champak flower tree, have you seen the younger brother of Balaram pass this way? Actually, this is regarded to be the highest level of spiritual bliss, because in this separation, they are so much thinking of Krishna. Their consciousness is completely full of Krishna. Nothing is in there apart from Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. This is considered to be the highest level of realization of Krishna. So intense, so deep, that there's nothing else could possibly enter into their minds or hearts. The lesson is we also have to search for Krishna with all our hearts. So this is really fantastic example by the gopis. Being absorbed in thoughts of him, they experienced loss of memory. With dampened eyes, they began to see the very pastimes of Krishna. Being so attracted to Krishna, they imitated his dancing, his walking, and his smiling as if they themselves were Krishna. Due to Krishna's absence, they all became crazy. Each one of them told the other, he was Krishna himself. So this is really amazing, amazing. They would do pastimes of Krishna, all the different pastimes as he was a baby and young child. They would remember and enact those pastimes and tell each other, hey, I am Krishna. Soon they all assembled together and chanted Krishna's name very loudly as they moved from one part of the forest to another, searching for him. Finally, the gopis returned to the banks of the Yamuna and assembled there, expecting that Krishna must return to them. They simply engaged in chanting the glories of Sri Krishna. Lord Krishna finally reappeared amongst the assembled gopis. He looked very beautiful, just befitting a person with all kinds of opulences. He showed special favor to the gopis, who were the select beauties of all creation. And he says to them, it is impossible to repay you, oh dear gopis, or show enough gratitude for your love. Therefore, please be satisfied by your own pious activities. So Krishna is admitting, I can't repay you for your love. Your love is so deep, so intense, so great. You just have to be satisfied by your love for me. Can't pay you back. So this is the end of chapter 32. These pastimes are actually very, very confidential and not to be misunderstood as ordinary pastime between boy and girl. They're pastimes between Supreme Lord and his pure devotees. And very, very important to understand that these pastimes are spiritual. There's nothing lusty about them. There's nothing material, no tinge of material contamination to that relationship. So very important to understand that. Okay, I wanted to stop there. Anybody, any questions? Any comments? Anything you'd like to know more about these pastimes? Okay, we can stop there. Shri Krishna Chandra Bhagavan ki jai.